Hello, this is Eleanor with Audible Local Ledger. Today I'll be reading you excerpts from the Fall River Reporter for Tuesday, December 10th, 2024. I'm rushing the gun. Our first headline: Another Massachusetts college announces free tuition and mandatory fees for certain students, by Ken Pava. With free community college across Massachusetts, another college in the Bay State has announced free tuition and fees to certain students. Starting in the fall 2025 semester, the Bridgewater Commitment at Bridgewater State University at 131 Summer Street in Bridgewater, Mass. will cover the full cost of tuition and mandatory fees for in-state students from families earning $125,000 or less. The Bridgewater Commitment covers mandatory tuition and fees and fee costs for undergraduate matriculated degree-seeking students who plan on enrolling full-time 12 to 17 credits. To be eligible for the BSU Commitment, students and families complete the FAFSA application and reside in the state of Massachusetts for at least 2 years. There are no additional forms a student must complete. The university will determine eligibility through the financial aid award offers. The Bridgewater Commitment is funded by a combination of federal, including Pell Grants, state, including Mass Grant Plus, Bridgewater State University, and private resources. Additional costs associated with attending BSU, such as living on campus, books, and travels, are not considered part of the Bridgewater Commitment. However, the university will consider students for additional resources to assist with offsetting the cost of attendance. In late October, the University of Massachusetts made a similar announcement. The next headline: a Fall River man was held on bail on several gun charges. New Bedford teen also charged after gun seized by Brockton police, by Ken Pava. Brockton police made a traffic stop on Saturday and seized 2 firearms in the process. According to police, patrol officers seized an unregistered Beretta PX4 Storm loaded with 10 rounds of ammunition and a Taurus 38 Special with 4 rounds ready to go. None of the people in the car had licenses to carry the guns. They arrested 21-year-old Dante France of Fall River and a 17-year-old from New Bedford on weapons charges. At Monday's arraignment, France pled not guilty and was held on $2,500 cash bail. He has a pretrial hearing late next month. Our next story. This is the latest. ERO Boston arrests 21-year-old Brazilian national accused of rape and indecent assault and battery in Plymouth, by Ken Pava. U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement and Removal Operations Boston arrested Luan Lucas de Sousa Concalves, 21, on December 2nd. De Sousa is a Brazilian national who unlawfully entered the United States July 22, 2023, and has been charged with rape and indecent assault and battery on a person over the age of 14. The Plymouth Police Department arrested him on that charge a day before turning him over to the ERO Boston. De Sousa has been accused of raping and assaulting someone in one of our Massachusetts communities, said ERO Boston Acting Field Office Director Patricia Hyde. After our colleagues at the Plymouth Police Department arrested him, ERO Boston lodged an immigration detainer. The Plymouth County Sheriff's Office, who are wonderful partners in the fight to keep the residents of Massachusetts safe, honored the detainer and turned him over to our custody. We are thankful for all the police departments and sheriff's offices in Massachusetts that prioritize public safety. The Plymouth Police Department notified ERO Boston before it released De Sousa on bond. Shortly after receiving the notification, ERO Boston arrested him at the Plymouth County Correctional Facility. Each time our partner agencies honor a detainer, our officers can arrest potentially dangerous non-citizens in safe, controlled environments without exposing the public to unnecessary danger, said Hyde. De Sousa will remain in ICE custody pending immigration proceedings. Next headline. Massachusetts man granted bail after authorities find variety of drugs at daycare with young children present. By Ken Pava. Lawrence, Massachusetts. A Massachusetts man was arraigned on multiple drug-related charges Monday in Lawrence District Court after authorities found a variety of suspected drugs in a registered daycare center located on Ames Street in Lawrence, the office of Essex County DA Paul Tucker announces. On Friday, the Massachusetts State Police Detective Unit, assigned to Tucker's office, the Massachusetts State Police North Shore Gang Unit, and detectives from Lawrence Police Department's Street Narcotics Enforcement Unit executed a search warrant that yielded numerous plastic bags of suspected drugs, including fentanyl and methamphetamine. The search and seizure took place at the Sixta Child Daycare on Ames Street. Authorities say 2 young children were present at the daycare at the time that the search warrant was served. 40-year-old Antonio Tony Solano of Lawrence was charged with trafficking in 36 grams or more of fentanyl, 2 counts of trafficking in more than 10 grams of fentanyl, distribution of methamphetamine, distribution of a Class B substance, and possession with intent to distribute a Class B substance. Solano pled not guilty to all charges. Judge Carol Ann Frazier set bail at $25,000. Solano is scheduled to return to court on January 3, 2025, for a probable cause hearing. Our next story is weather-related. Massachusetts and Rhode Island to see heavy rain, strong winds with possible flooding, and power outages. Ken Pava. Southern Massachusetts and Rhode Island is expected to get heavy rains and strong winds this week. According to the National Weather Service, Boston, Wednesday into Wednesday night, an impactful storm will bring heavy rainfall and strong coastal winds to southern New England. Localized urban and poor drainage street flooding is possible with 50 to 60 mile-per-hour wind gusts near the coast. The heaviest rain and strongest wind is expected late Wednesday and Wednesday evening. A high wind watch is in effect for coastal southern New England, including Fall River. Westport police arrest a 32-year-old man after reportedly driving the wrong way on Route 6. By Ken Pava. A local man faced a judge after allegedly driving the wrong way on an area highway. According to Deputy Robert Rebello, on Friday, an operator was located by police driving the wrong way on Route 6 in Westport. Upon interaction with the police, it was determined that 32-year-old Louis Mejias was operating under the influence of alcohol and subsequently arrested and charged with OUI liquor, wrong way on a state highway, and negligent operation of a motor vehicle. At Monday's arraignment, Mejias pled not guilty and was released on personal recognizance. His next court appearance is a pretrial hearing scheduled for February. Next up, 2 men held without bail in the murder of 32-year-old Rhode Island man. By Ken Pava. 2 men have been charged and arraigned concerning a weekend murder. On Sunday, the Woonsocket Police Department secured arrest warrants for 24-year-old Ibrahim Silla and 24-year-old Jacob Lopez Diaz in connection with the murder of 32-year-old Christopher Panado on Saturday. Both men were arrested Sunday evening and charged with first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, first-degree robbery, and conspiracy to commit robbery. At just after 6 p.m., Woonsocket police responded to a reported disturbance in the area of 380 Social Street with several individuals fighting. Upon arrival, police located a victim, later identified as Panado, suffering from multiple stab wounds. He was transported to Landmark Hospital, where he was pronounced dead as a result of his injuries. Panado was described by those who knew him as a good soul with a big heart. Friends expressed heartbreak over the news, stating he will be missed by many. Silla and Diaz were arraigned in 6th District Court on Monday morning and were held without bail. Our next headline: Bristol County teacher accused of slapping 2 5-year-old students with autism. By Ken Pava. A local teacher is accused of assaulting two young students. According to police, on Tuesday, November 26, 2024, at just after 4:30 p.m., the Attleboro Police Department was contacted by a school administrator from the Thatcher Elementary School, located at 160 James Street in Attleboro, reporting a staff member allegedly assaulting multiple students. The initial investigation revealed that multiple staff members at the school witnessed 57-year-old Susan Martin, a licensed special ed classroom teacher, physically assault students on at least two separate occasions that day. One 5-year-old student was reportedly slapped in the face by Martin at approximately 11:55 a.m., and another 5-year-old student was reportedly pushed and slapped by Martin at approximately 1 p.m. Both victims are diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. Both incidents were witnessed by several other staff members and occurred in a classroom setting. Investigators learned that the first incident was reported to school administrators between 1 p.m. and 1:30 p.m., approximately 3 hours prior to being reported to the police. The second incident then came to light after school administrators began speaking with other staff members after the first incident was reported. Investigators learned that school administrators had asked Martin to leave the school after being placed on administrative leave several hours prior to reporting the incident to the police. Attleboro police detectives assigned to the investigation subsequently secured an arrest warrant through the Attleboro District Court for Martin for 2 counts of assault and battery on a person with an intellectual disability. She was unable to be immediately arrested after the issuance of the warrant because investigators learned she left the state on a pre-planned vacation to Florida. On Monday, December 9th, 2024, Attleboro police detectives located Martin at her residence in Kingston, Massachusetts, where she was taken into custody without incident. She was transported to the Attleboro police station for booking and was then brought to Attleboro District Court for arraignment. Elements of this incident remain under active investigation. Our next headline: Southeastern Massachusetts pursuit of armed man in crisis ends without incident. Charges filed. By Ken Pava. An incident over the weekend that involved several southeastern Massachusetts community ended peacefully. According to Tim McGurk of Massachusetts State Police, shortly before 10 p.m. on Sunday night, Rochester police advised state police of a bolo, be on the lookout, for a 35-year-old man who reportedly fled his residence in a Toyota Tundra with multiple firearms. State troopers located the Toyota Tundra down the Cape on Route 28 in Dennis, followed behind it for a brief time, and initiated a traffic stop. As the Toyota entered a congested area, State Police Command terminated the pursuit, and the trooper advised that the man continued traveling on Route 28 towards Harwich. At that time, the department deployed the Air Wing to provide information from the sky. As the operator continued east, Orleans police deployed a tire deflation device that made effective contact with the Toyota's front passenger tire. Although the Toyota continued at a low rate of speed for a short time, it eventually became disabled and stopped again. The operator abandoned the vehicle in the vicinity of Eves Way and Great Pond Road in Eastham and fled on foot. Police chased the man for approximately 100 yards when a 30-minute standoff ensued. Despite the danger posed by the man pointing a firearm at himself and police, troopers and officers de-escalated the situation by engaging him in conversation. The man ultimately surrendered to police, who placed him into custody, recovered a pistol and 2 shotguns, and facilitated his transport by EMS to a local hospital. Police resolved the incident with no injuries or damage to property. State police filed several charges against the man for his actions, including 3 counts of assault with a dangerous weapon, a firearm, failure to stop for police, and negligent operation. He is identified as Sean Smalley, 35, of Rochester. As a reminder, this is Audible Local Ledger for Tuesday, December 10th, with stories from the Fall River Reporter. Popular Bristol County BBQ restaurant announces why they will close one of their locations at the end of the year, by Ken Pava. A popular barbecue joint in Bristol County has announced that they have to close one of their locations. Kinfolk Smokin' BBQ announced Monday on social media why they will have to cease operations at their 120 Highland Ave spot in Seekonk. Just devastated. Good morning, everyone. I am writing to inform you that we will be terminating operations at our Seekonk location on December 31st. Unfortunately, a conflict in the lease restricts the sale of most of our fried products. This issue was not identified by D'Angelo's Properties when we signed the lease in July, but was recently brought to our attention by Buffalo Wild Wings. Despite efforts to negotiate a revised menu, Buffalo Wild Wings declined our proposal. We will be extending our days to 7 days a week at our Taunton location and longer hours on the weekend. Kinfolk is known for serving barbecue pulled pork, chicken, and ribs in addition to fried chicken. Our next headline. Services announced for Tiverton man, Somerset Berkeley teacher, who passed away suddenly, by Ken Pava. Services have been announced after the unexpected and sudden passing of a local teacher. Dr. Susan Brailsford, principal of Somerset Berkeley Regional High School, announced on Friday morning that science and technology teacher Joseph Ramos passed away. This loss is sure to raise many emotions, concerns, and questions for our entire school, especially our students. While there are no words to truly convey the sadness over the loss of one of our own, I want all students and staff to know we are all here for you and each other. We have assembled a crisis team at the school who will be available to staff and students all day. We have also provided a list of counselors available to touch base with students or families on a one-to-one basis, and we have provided their contact information as well as a list of outside agencies for further support. As both the principal and a Raider family member, I offer my deepest sympathy to all of you and, of course, to the Ramos family. Mr. Ramos will be remembered as a true Raider with a sincere heart of gold. As always, please take care of yourselves and each other as we work through this most difficult time. Ramos is the founder of the United States Super STEM competition held yearly at the high school. The organization also allows eligible students to apply for the Susan Sanford Memorial STEM Scholarship. According to an obituary, in addition to being a popular teacher for 25 years, the 48-year-old Ramos was an accomplished tennis player. He was also described as a supportive father, never missing an event and always encouraging his children to follow their ambitions. Services are with the Smith Funeral and Memorial Services, 8 Schoolhouse Road in Warren, Rhode Island, where the family will receive relatives and guests for visitation on Tuesday, December 10th from 4 to 8 p.m. A Mass of Christian burial will be held on Wednesday, December 11th at 9 a.m. in St. Elizabeth's Church, 577 Wood Street in Bristol, Rhode Island. Burial will be at St. Mary's Cemetery, Chestnut Street, Bristol, Rhode Island. In lieu of flowers, donations can be made to SBRHS in care of Joseph Ramos Memorial Fund. Fire department responds after car plows into Brockton business causing injuries. This was from December 8th by Ken Pava. A building suffered serious damage after a Sunday evening crash, according to the Brockton Fire Department. Brockton Fire responded to a motor vehicle into a building at 609 Oak Street, Meineke Car Care Center. Fortunately, only minor injuries were suffered. The crash is under investigation. 20-year-old from Swansea killed in Somerset highway crash, being remembered as a special person, as services announced. Ken Pava. A 20-year-old killed in a local fatal highway crash is being remembered. According to Massachusetts State Police, shortly after 2 a.m. Friday morning, state police personnel from the Dartmouth Barracks responded to a motor vehicle crash on Interstate I-95 West at the 9.6 mile marker in Somerset. Troopers located a single vehicle in the median. The operator, who was the sole occupant of the vehicle, was pronounced dead on scene by EMS. The deceased operator was identified as 20-year-old Riley O'Connor of Swansea. According to an obituary, O'Connor worked at Harvest Tap and Table in Swansea, where her warm smile and kind spirit touched the lives of both her co-workers and patrons. Beyond her work, Riley embraced life with enthusiasm and joy. She had a special fondness for her friends, and they were her greatest treasures. Riley loved shopping, spending hours at Colt State Park in Bristol, hitting the gym, and creating unforgettable memories with those she held dear. Her vibrant personality and infectious laughter lit up any room, and her friends knew her as someone who was always ready for an adventure. Riley will be remembered not only for her love of life, but also for the kindness and warmth she brought to everyone around her. She leaves behind a legacy of love, friendship, and joyful memories that will remain in the hearts of her family and friends forever. Harvest Tap and Table also issued a statement on social media. With extreme sadness in our heart, we have lost a member of our Harvest family today, and we ask for your patience and support while we navigate through these next couple weeks. Our hearts go out for the family and loved ones of such a beautiful soul. Relatives and friends are invited to attend the celebration of life on Friday, December 13th, 2024, at 10 a.m. at the Waring-Sullivan home in Birchcrest, 189 Gardiner's Neck Road, Swansea. Her burial will follow in Beech Grove Cemetery in Westport. Visiting hours will be Thursday from 4 to 8 p.m. in the funeral home. In lieu of flowers, memorial contributions in her honor may be made to the Forever Paws Animal Shelter, 300 Linwood Street, Fall River, Mass. 02721. The next headline. After comments by Trump in new interview, former Fall River business owner and others likely to be pardoned on first day of presidency over January 6th, by Ken Pava. A Swansea man and former Fall River business owner convicted concerning alleged actions at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th has received some good news after a recent interview. According to NBC News, through an exclusive Meet the Press interview, President-elect Donald Trump said he's looking to issue pardons to his supporters as early as his first day in office, and that he will bring legal relief to the rioters who he said have been put through a very nasty system. Trump also said that there may be some exceptions to his pardons if somebody was radical, crazy. Michael St. Pierre was previously charged in a criminal complaint filed in the District of Columbia with a felony offense of civil disorder. In addition, St. Pierre was charged with several misdemeanor offenses, including destruction of government property, knowingly entering or remaining in any restricted building or grounds without lawful authority, disorderly and disruptive conduct in a restricted building or grounds, engaging in physical violence in a restricted building or grounds, disorderly conduct in a Capitol building, and committing an act of physical violence in the Capitol grounds or buildings. In early October, the court directed a verdict of guilty on counts 1, 2, 6, and 7, and not guilty on counts 3, 4, and 5. Sentencing is set for 3/14/25. However, with Trump's latest comments, that is likely to change. According to court documents, St. Pierre traveled from his home to Washington, D.C., and participated in the U.S. Capitol riots on January 6, 2021. While walking towards the Capitol grounds, St. Pierre can be heard stating that the Capitol is where the meeting ground is. Hopefully, they'll bust through and I'll join them to rush the Capitol to grab Nancy Pelosi by the hair. Court documents state that video footage taken from that day depicts a man, later identified as St. Pierre, throwing an object through the open exterior doors at a set of interior doors of the Capitol building. Video footage also shows U.S. Capitol police officers attempting to manage the crowd outside the doors and finally retreating to the interior entryway of the building as the crowd became more violent. Once the officers were inside, several protesters, including St. Pierre, threw objects at the doors that the officers were behind. St. Pierre is also allegedly seen encouraging others to assist him as he joins a group of rioters pushing against a police line. In another open-source video, court documents say that St. Pierre is seen encouraging rioters to enter the Capitol building. Our next headlines: Her presence will be missed immensely. Plymouth County woman killed in pedestrian crash being remembered, by Ken Pava. A Plymouth County woman is being remembered after she died from injuries sustained in a pedestrian collision. According to Plymouth County District Attorney Timothy Cruz, at just after 6:15 a.m. Tuesday morning, Brockton police received a 911 call for a report of a motor vehicle versus pedestrian crash at North Main Street and Battle Street in Brockton. Brockton police and emergency medical personnel responded and located a female victim in the roadway. The woman was transported to Good Samaritan Hospital, where she was pronounced dead of her injuries. She has been identified as 37-year-old Betty Etienne of Brockton. Brockton police contacted Massachusetts State Police detectives assigned to the Plymouth County District Attorney's Office to begin the investigation. Preliminarily, it appears that Etienne was crossing the street when she was struck by a motorist driving a Dodge Caravan. Video surveillance shows that the traffic light was green for traffic to proceed along North Main Street, and a red hand was illuminated on the pedestrian control signal. The 20-year-old male operator of the Dodge Caravan remained on scene. According to a GoFundMe fundraiser created by her employer, Etienne was on her way to work at Horizon Vert in Randolph. Betty worked for Horizon Vert Naturals since coming to the United States, first in production and then in the office. She lit up any space she was in. Although quiet, you could always look to Betty for a smile and assurance that the office would run smoothly. Her presence will be missed immensely in the small, tight-knit work community. The investigation is ongoing by Massachusetts State Police detectives assigned to the Plymouth County District Attorney's Office, Massachusetts State Police Collision Analysis Reconstruction Section, Massachusetts State Police Crime Scene Services, and Brockton Police. That's all for today with Audible Local Ledger. Thank you for listening.